I have to admit, when I first saw Charles Martin fight, uh, I wasn't impressed by him. The first time I saw him fight was when he fought for the vacant uh, IBF title, which was, I believe, 4 years ago now, and he fought this guy called Glaskov, and the way that fight ended, I remember just I didn't like the way that fight ended because if you guys remember, Glassov like fell. He leaned on his knee. I think he fell on his back leg, and he couldn't continue because he injured his leg really bad. And then they just awarded Charles Martin as the IBF champion, and this was right after they stripped Fury of the IBF belt. And I remember just being kind of like annoyed by that. I was like, man, this dude just won this IBF title against this dude Glaskov, and he got it. He basically got it as a gift because he didn't even have to fight. I think that fight lasted like a round, and the dude broke his dislocated his leg, and and then he goes on to fight AJ, and he gets destroyed in like 2 rounds. So I remember at the time thinking, okay, this guy is like one of the worst reigning champions of all time. He wins a vacant belt in a very strange way with the guy dislocating his leg in 2 rounds, and then he goes on to lose the belt instantaneously within 6 months. Within 2 months, and he gets destroyed by AJ. So at the time, I really didn't think highly of. I didn't think that much, basically, of Charles Martin. But I have to admit, as the years have gone on, Charles Martin has showed. At least he showed me that he is a better fighter than I was giving him credit. Like I said, back then I wasn't giving him credit at all. I thought he was just a bum, basically. But if you see Charles Martin, like he's went on to beat guys like Gerard Washington. He gave Adam Konecki a tough fight. He gave Adam Konecki a run for his money, in all honesty. And he's been in entertaining fights. Like he's been in a lot of entertaining fights recently. Like I never see Charles Martin in a boring fight. Because if he's not losing, he's knocking the other guy down, or they're having like a slugfest. He comes to fight. He's showing way more ambition these days than he did when I first saw him. He's just coming out with a bang, and I think I'm starting to look at Charles Martin as like a name. Like he's a person he's a contender now. Basically as a contender. I'm not saying he's like a world beater. He's like a like a future champion. Although he does have a chance, I believe he's mandatory for one of AJ's belts, so he might get a title shot against AJ if he keeps winning. But I'm not saying like he's going to be a champion, but I am saying that he's a better, because a lot of people were shitting on Charles Martin the way I was at first when I first saw him. A lot of people were shitting on him. They were saying that he just gave AJ the belt, the IBF strap, but he's better than people think he is. I think with his recent fights, his recent performance, it's obvious that he's a better fighter than I at least originally thought he was. And I just think that he should be getting credit for that. I think he should be getting credit for being a better fighter, because a lot of people looked at him as like the worst champion in heavyweight history. You know what I'm saying? Or at least he was labeled the worst champion in heavyweight history because he lost it in such a terrible way, and he lost it so fast. But yeah, that's just my opinion on Charles Martin. I think he's better than I originally thought he was, basically, is what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a better fighter than I originally thought he was. Anyway, guys, I have to say, thanks for watching, and I'm out.